welcome to Special Interests with Bob and Donna, Bob Banfelder and Donna Durasmo. We haven't been around lately because Bob has been busy working on his new novel, which deals with the Long Island serial killer cases, and the title of that novel is The Long Island Serial Killer Murders, Gilgo Beach and Beyond. So if you're interested, that's available on Amazon. It's a notorious crime.
One of the most notorious.
Yes. One of the most notorious, especially on Long Island, going back, what, 2 decades?
2 decades.
But here we are, and we're going to be doing an outdoorsy thing for you people who are into fishing and hunting and trapping, etc., etc. We're going to be talking about knives. But before we do that, for those of you who have not been a watcher of our channel, I'm a retired educator with the New York City Board of Education. I retired a long time ago, missed the children, but love retirement here on Long Island. And Bob is the one with a lot of credentials. He's an award-winning crime thriller novelist, as I had mentioned, and he's an outdoors writer. His works have been featured on many national and regional magazines. He is a member, or we are a member of the Trumansburg Fish and Game Club, and Bob's a new member of the Newfield Rod and Gun Club, both of which are in central New York.
And we're presently in?
We're in Riverhead, Long Island, so, but we get to travel up to our son's cabin.
I wasn't sure where I was. I'm getting like Biden, and I had to ask.
You're not sure, huh? Okay, then you got a problem. But anyway, he's also the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from Who's Who in America, and he's a member of the Outdoor Writers Association of America, as well as the New York State Outdoor Writers Association. So today we're going to be doing another segment on the Columbia River Knife and Tool Company knives that Bob has been talking about on our channel, and he's very excited about a new one that he has, which he's going to feature today. It's the Apoc, and it's an Eric Oakes design.
It is.
It is.
We'll talk about that gentleman in a moment.
He's wonderful. So
Apoc, A-P-O-C, and I'll
APOC.
explain that in a moment.
Okay, and so I'm going to go behind the camera. So
Okay, so let's see what kind of trouble we can get into. You can see I have a few knives out here that are displayed on the table, which I've reviewed in the past, in the very, very recent past. And Donna, you can put a link on for the show on these other knives that I reviewed, because those who would like more information, thorough information on each of these 3 knives here, you'll be able to do that, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to reach for the one that we'll be featuring, we'll be reviewing pretty thoroughly. And let's see what we have here. We have some paperwork in here. We have small brochure there. We got the bag, and we'll just get this business out of the way. Maybe put this over here. And let's take a look at this knife before I open it up. Okay, as Donna had mentioned, this is an Eric Oakes design. And before we finish with this review, we're going to be covering several gentlemen whose names I'd like you to know, and designers, inventors, just unbelievable people when it comes to these knives. Eric Oakes is a designer from Sherwood, Oregon. He has a big shop out there, and that's where these knives are featured, or built, I should say. I'm going to open this knife and let's take a look at this flipper here. You can see that it is what we call jimped. Okay, you can see the lines here. So my finger's not going to slide off there very easily, okay? Now, I did this very, very gently. Now I'm going to do this like you would normally do it. Deploys beautifully, okay? It's actually hard to what they call fail deployment. See, I'm going to go slow, okay? But I'm putting a lot of effort in not to open it, okay? But for the several reviews that we've done with Eric Oakes and other designers, the deployment of an Eric Oakes design is just phenomenal. It really is. Very, very easy. Let's look at the skeletalized wavy section here, okay? The hammered steel. Let's look at the periphery around the handle on both sides, okay? And there's a theme behind here, and this is called, you can focus in on this here, Donna, APOC, which I mentioned, okay? And while I'm there, we'll see the circle with arrows here. That tells you that this is on a ball bearing system, okay? Not washers, but ball bearings. And the ball bearings are the magic for very easy deployment, okay? So, APOC, what does that stand for? It's an abbreviated form of apocalyptic, okay? And there's a theme that's current through this knife, if you will, and we'll be going through that pretty thoroughly. We talked about the skeletalized wavy section here. We talk about this hammered steel around both sides. Okay, it's a bad boy. It's a bad boy knife, and you'll notice that it is black. Okay, it's a stone washed black in lieu of, say, something very shiny and glossy. Okay, so you can see the difference in the colors of the blades here. Okay, this blade, this knife that I have here is called the Avant.
It's also by CRKT, yes?
It's also by CRKT. It is also an Eric Oakes design. And you can see the difference in the blade size, okay? This is a smaller knife. A lot of people prefer, for a pocket knife, they like the smaller knives. I like a couple of bad boys we'll be looking at, and this is one of them. This is a, ergonomically, this fits beautifully in my hand. And it is a bit heavier. We'll get into weights and other specifications as we go through this. But you'll note the difference between this. Now, notice how, once again, how effortlessly I opened this blade. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to have to exert, even though this knife, called the Seismic, which we'll be talking about in a moment, although this knife is on ball bearings, it's on steroids, I have to really snap it open. Okay, you can play with some screws, a couple screws that they have here, but this is brand new. As I go down the pike and use this, Actually, I've used it for a good month off and on, and it is getting a little bit easier to deploy, but again, this would be hard to say. I couldn't even really purposely fail deployment of this blade. But if you ever come to a point where okay, notice this button here. See, I can actually close the knife like this, where I would have to put my thumbnail in here to move this out of the way to close the blade.
That's
See,
on the
maybe
A-
your
that's the
fingers
APOC?
get caught.
That's the APOC, right?
This is the APOC,
Okay, so you
right?
got too many.
The fingers do not get in the way on this bad boy here. Again, I can close it like this. Okay, so maybe we'll just leave these open. All right, let's see now. The Avant model is the 4620. That's the Avant here. And you'll see it's the smaller of the knives. Okay, if you like this easy deployment, you really want to consider the IKBS design. And again, let's go over here on this blade. You'll see the circle with the arrows, and that's showing you the bearings in here, okay? If you like that business, that easy deployment, you really want to consider IKBS, and we'll be talking about that and the gentleman behind it. Okay, now the IKBS design, IK is for Ikuma, Flavio Ikuma, Ikoma. And he's a Brazilian, he's an inventor, he's a knife designer, and the knives are really phenomenal. I'm going to look at another knife that I pretty much use for hunting. This is not on steroids. In other words, this is not on ball bearings. This is on washers. So in order to deploy this knife, it takes a bit of effort. I had to really snap my wrist. And now I won't snap my wrist, and I'll show you where this goes. Oh, it actually,
there you go.
it
Fooled
defied
you.
me. Okay, okay, I'm going to try and fail this. Okay, okay, that type of thing. But then I can always snap it open like this. I use this for hunting. As Donna says, she's going to put on a link for these knives that we're looking at. This knife I can take apart in less than 30 seconds, and I've done it on the other show, we won't get into it now, and put it back together in, let's say, less than a minute type of thing, because I have to line it up.
Right in the field you can do that. Yeah.
Right in the field.
You
So
don't need any
when
tools.
I'm done dressing out a deer, and maybe actually cutting out some back straps and stuff like this, can you imagine what this knife is like?
What's the
we
name-
got
what's the
blood
name of
and
the
guts.
knife?
This here is the Homefront. The Homefront Hunter. And it's a Ken Orion design. Donna, I think
Ken
you can...
Onion.
I'm sorry. I did that again. Okay. Ken Onion design. And the knife
That's
is...
really a nice knife, too.
The knife is just really fantastic for that purpose. Again, I started to say that the knife really gets messed up with blood and guts and everything. If I'm stream side or near a pond or something like that, I can superficially wash it off, get the gunk out and stuff like that. Then when I get home, in less than, say, a minute and a half, I can have this thing taken apart, cleaned up, and, put back together
CRKT
again.
has nice knives
Beautiful.
for every
Beautiful.
for every
Beautiful.
job.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go through my notes here because I don't want to miss a beat. Well, just give me a second here. Okay, so again, this Flavio, Flavio, Ikoma, Ikoma. That is the magic design for these ball bearings. And again, consider that if you're looking for effortless deployment. Okay. The Seismic model that we looked at, the designer is this Flavio guy from Brazil. This is a 5401 model, 5401 model. And it is a beast of a knife, okay? We can look at the widths of these. They're about the same. Actually, I believe they're maybe looks a little bit...
The width of the blade or the handle?
No, the handle, the width of the handle. You can see that it's longer. The blade is a bit longer. Okay, let's see. Okay, this apocalyptic theme that's in Eric Oakes's mind when he designed this. He was having a little fun here. It's taken from the Mad Max type of post-apocalyptic, fancy word here, dystopian action films. Mm-hmm. Donna, ask me what dystopian means. Do you know what dystopian means?
No.
Ask me what dystopian means.
No, but when you say Mad Max, I think of Mel Gibson.
Okay. All right, let's see.
I think he was in it.
All right, let's just have a little bit fun here. So ask me what dystopian.
I'll bite.
You'll bite. Okay.
What does dystopian mean to you?
Well, a desktop or a very small dictionary would define it as relating to dystopia. So that tells you a lot.
That tells me nothing.
That tells you a lot, no?
No.
Okay. Dystopia is an imaginary place in which conditions of life are extremely bad. Mm-hmm. So when you think of some of these films like The Road Warrior, we have that post-apocalyptic theme, if you will. If some of you may have had this as required reading in college, or maybe even high school, Aldous Huxley, Brave New World, an English author that was ahead of his time. The book was written in 1931. It was published in 1932. And we are dealing with government control over new and powerful technologies. Think about what's going on in the world today, and think about this Huxley author writing along those lines in 1931, 1932. Incredible. Man, way ahead of his time. Okay. So you got the gist. You got into Eric Oakes's head referencing this bad boy design here. You have the hammered steel on the handle, both sides again along the periphery. You have it atop. You have it atop the blade, and you have the black stonewash finish in lieu of a shiny, glossy stainless steel finish there. All right, let's see. Where do we go from here? I got a little bit heady there. Let's look. We should really look at one of these pocket clips here, okay? If you, let's get here. Okay, focus in on the pocket clip here.
This is on the Seismic.
This is on the Seismic, Donna, right?
Okay.
And you'll see that it's a bit shorter than the pocket clip on the Apoc.
Apoc.
Donna, if you can home in here, can you see how flush the heads of these screws that hold down the pocket clip are? Home in on that?
Yes.
As opposed to, and I see two in here. In other words, they're flush mounted, and now home in on this one. You can see that the single screw, the head of the single screw is raised. Okay? And I'm going to try it, well, seeing it through the hole may not work there, but I think you got it. If not, just trust me on that when I tell you these two screws are flush mounted, because the area on this one is milled out, okay? In other words, this is not going to catch in your pocket.
The Apoc that
The
we're looking
Apoc.
at now, yeah.
It's not going to catch in your pocket. I haven't had any trouble with this, but just think about it. They're both hefty knives. They're both serious, big, bad boys. And we have one screw and a short pocket clip on a Seismic. We have two flush-mounted, milled-out area, much longer, or for the size of a pocket clip, it's a bit longer. Again, I haven't had any trouble taking this out, putting this in, taking this out, withdrawing this knife from my pocket. However, there are knives where you will see, well, let's see if I can give an example. Well, the knives are, the heads of the screws on a clip are considerably raised, and sometimes you'll see 2 and 3 of them. And when you play around with these knives, try to remove it from your pocket, it can grab. And you just want to always consider the overall look and feel, know your specs, know what you're getting into. You don't want to spend a good penny and then say, oh, geez, I don't like this knife. It's really, it doesn't really do what I want it to. I find it hard to withdraw from my pocket for rapid deployment, so on and so forth. So, enough said about the clips. Maybe not. Let's take a look. Here's a nice clip here, nice long clip here.
What is that, the Homefront?
This is the Homefront by Ken Onion, not Orient Onion. And you can see it's a milled out area that the head of the screw is flush, so I'm not going to have any kind of a problem there. Okay. All right. So that clip on the Apoc is 1 3/4 inches deep, okay? But I want to bring your attention to this. Here's another thing to consider. Suppose you're left-handed, okay? This is for right hand only, this clip. You cannot take this clip and put it on this side. However, let's take the Avant. This is set up for right hand. Okay, you can see where the holes are, where the screws would go. I can turn this over, and you can see if you're left-handed, you'll have no problem with this in your pocket because it is cut out, milled out for the clip to work on the left side.
So that's another thing to consider.
It's another thing to consider. Okay. All right. Let's see. Now, on the Apoc, this handle, this part of the handle here, is what they call G10, okay? This is constructed of a glass fiber, as opposed some are carbon, some are actually made of paper, okay? Nothing wrong with it because of its chemical whatever.
The technology, yeah.
It's amazing. It's very, very durable. But this is G10, and you can see that it has a nice, we're talking about the green part of the handle now. It has a very nice grippy texture to it. Let me just get this out of harm's way here. Okay. Unlike this here, which is very, very smooth. Donna has the camera on this. It may look like it's textured here, but Donna, if you rub your finger along here, just tell
yeah,
the
it's very
audience
smooth.
the difference between here and here. Put your finger here.
Very
Feel the
smooth.
difference?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, so this is nice and grippy. G10. On this green scaled surface. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to, can I take this away now?
Yep.
Sometimes Don and I fight for position here on where we gotta, you know.
Especially
okay.
when you're flicking these things open.
Yeah, I gotta be very careful. Okay, close blade, and note that the flipper is jimped. We talked about that. But there's an area here, and we'll get into some of the nomenclature. I don't want to belabor it, but this is here. This is the choil area here. And here's our jimping, and notice what this really does. If I am working diligently, carelessly with this knife, notice what this jimped area does here, the choil, this choil area. It protects my fingers. It would be very difficult if I'm working dexterously. It's pretty hard for my fingers to come down here. So this is a guard, if you will, okay? Serves as a guard, your flipper section there. All right. Yeah, see, this is why I keep notes. Let's make sure I don't miss a beat, Donna. Home in on the hole here. And that is for your lanyard. If you don't want to carry it in your pocket and or take it out of your pocket, you have a hole here to put a lanyard in there, and you could utilize the knife in that sense. Okay? Let's see here. I don't have a lanyard on this. I don't have a lanyard on that. I do have a lanyard here. As a matter of fact, I have two places on this jimping here.
On the seismic?
On the seismic that I could put a lanyard. I don't use a lanyard, or I haven't to date.
So that's another consideration.
That's another consideration.
So many things to keep in your mind.
Okay, now, by now some of you are saying, well, you know, I'm noticing two things on the seismic and the Apoc. I noticed these serrations, these cutouts here, okay, as opposed to no cutout here, no cutout here, no serrations over here. Again, they all have their own application. We're boaters, so on the boat sometimes I'm cutting line, and if I cut a certain type of line, if I cut through it, I'm going to, oh, these knives cut through beautifully, but I might have flared ends on the rope, on the line. But with these serrations, and notice the angle, we'll talk about the angle in a moment that they're cut at. When you cut through these serrations on line, on rope, it cuts through evenly. There is no fibers sticking out. So you know sometimes when you do have those fibers and you want it nice and smooth, you get a lighter and you light the ends of the fibers and, you know, melt it down so
Seal
it's nice
them.
and smooth. I like a knife with these serrations. You'll note that the serrations, well, you won't note here, the serrations on some knives are, instead of being angled like this, okay, they're straight down. You've seen them, okay? And what is beautiful about what they call VEF, V-E-F-F serrations, named after Tom Veff, is that as you cut, these here angled cuts, these cuts are at a 50-degree angle, and the didactic word is bite. They bite, they grab, and then slice through as you pull the blade across the line, rope, hemp, whatever. Okay? So if we talk about the other serrations, they're at 95, so eyeballing this, you can say, oh, that's 45. It's actually 50 degrees, okay? And you'll notice that this choiled area here, the way it's angled
On the Apoc.
on the Apoc, when you sharpen these, you'll have to get in here. This is a piece of cake, This would be difficult if this wasn't angled right. On the 90-degree cuts, you know, would be no problem. But the way this is designed, you have to think about everything here. Can I get in there and sharpen this tool down to this third one? Absolutely. Notice the way that this is out of the way. Notice the way that this is out of the way. Okay, there's no problem sharpening these two knives here. Okay. So we have 3 angled Veff serrations, again named after Tom Veff.
On the Apoc.
On the Apoc and on
the
the
Seismic.
Seismic also. Okay, but now let's just, because we're going all over the chart here, let's just home in on this and cover the specs on this. A lot of you, some of you out there, knife aficionados, you really want to know the whole 9 yards. So this is a 9-inch overall length from the point to the back of the knife. We're talking
And
about
this is the Apoc.
9 inches, the Apoc. Okay? The blade length, okay, from point to back here is 4 inches. Cutting edge is 3.875. The blade width is 1.125
Inches.
inches. This is all in inches. Thanks, Donna. The blade thickness is 0.15 inches. I put my inch side there. Make you happy.
There you go. Make me
Okay.
happy.
Okay. And the blade material, a lot of you are familiar with blade materials. I'm just getting into this. It's the 8 CR13 MOV. And what that translates to, it's 0.80 carbon. It's 13.0 chromium. And when I talk about that, it's similar, for those of you who are into this, it's similar to the AUS 8, which is considered an upper grade scale. And then you finish off with 10% of vanadium. The I would guess you would say the style, the shape of the blade is what they call Wharncliffe. Wharncliffe, Wharncliffe blade. And what that means, we're going to do a CF here, Donna. We're going to do a comparison here. The home in on this one. This Wharncliffe blade means that it's a style of blade which is relatively straight, has a relatively straight cutting edge with a tapered spine to meet that acute point. Okay, relatively straight. Now here's where we get a picture by what I mean by this. This is not relatively straight. This sweeps up, so that's a different design blade. This is what they call the Wharncliffe, okay? All right. Okay, so that straight cutting edge, okay, has a tapered spine to meet that acute point, the point of this blade here. And as I already mentioned, probably a couple times, it has a black stone wash finish. The handle length is 5 inches. That's the muted green colored portion. Okay, so 5 and 4 is 9. There's your 9 inches. The handle width is 1.01 inch. The handle thickness is 0.60. Okay, and let's just check that out. Let's play a little bit here. These are specs off the sheet, and there are sometimes misprints. I've never had one dealing with CRKT specifications, but let's just check it out for the halibut. Get it, Donna?
For the halibut?
We're into fishing.
For the heck of it.
So we'll take this guy out here. Let's see,
What
we'll
is
turn
this?
this on. Micrometer. I picked this up at
Harbor Freight.
Harbor
right?
Freight,
Yeah.
okay? There are more expensive ones on the market. This is fine, suits me for the number of times that I use this. So we have this on, and we're going to, let's see. Let's close this up so we stay out of trouble here. And I don't think I can hold it that way. All right, so let's just see. So I'm going to put this here. Okay, can you swing around on it? Can you see that 0.596?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, let me try it here. 0.596, 0.60. Let's say, focus in on this, show them what they say. Handle thickness 0.60. Right on the money. Okay, when you saw the 0.59, it was carried out to another couple of digits, so we're right there.
Right.
0.60. So let me shut this off, put this away. Off. And good to play around this. See, I want to familiarize with some of the tools that once you get into this, that will help you, determine certain factors. We're going to be getting into weighing some knives in a moment, and you'll see that the scale that I got is a multi-purpose. So I just don't play around just with knives, and play around with other things too. Okay, we talked about the ingredients, if you will, of the metals that go into this. Okay, it has a plain handle. We talked about that thickness. Okay, let's do that right now. We finished up with the handle thickness. We'll go into the knives weights. Okay, so Don, as a matter of fact, you can. I want to get this on a very, very flat surface so we can put this we can put this down here. Actually, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine here. I'll give you this box, and you can talk about this a little bit here. What is the name of
Okay,
this?
this is the Ozari Pronto Digital Kitchen Scale. When I researched kitchen scales, this one came up as a very, very good budget one. You can spend a fortune on
You can.
digital kitchen scales, but it's really not necessary. I think this was around $14 or something like that. Very
Right.
reasonable.
And how much was the other one, that next step up?
It was like
fit-
It was like $100 some odd dollars.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
I
not
mean,
necessary.
maybe if I was a baker, okay, and
Yeah.
I'm concerned with ingredients for baking. I'm a cook. I'm a chef, if you will, in a kitchen, not professionally or anything. I would, if I was getting into baking, I would want a very, very accurate scale. But you'll see how accurate this is. When Donna said budget, don't misconstrue and interpret budget as meaning cheap and
No, it's
junky or
not.
anything
It
like
works
that.
well.
It works extremely well, and we're going to show that in a moment. So we'll turn this unit,
Turn it on
On
the right
here.
side.
okay.
And
it's
it'll
set-
give you grams, pounds, and ounces.
I got a 0G, so that's grams, so I'll hit this. I have pounds here, and I'll hit it again, and now we're dealing with ounces.
Ounces, right.
Okay, so what do my notes say that this guy weighs here? The knife's
Apoc?
weight on the Apoc.
6.1 ounce.
6.10 ounces.
ounces.
6.1. Okay, so let's place this here. What do we
Uh-oh.
have?
Lo and behold,
6.1. Very, very, very accurate. Okay.
Kudos to the scale too.
And kudos to the scale. We're going to keep this here because maybe we'll get back into weighing, so
Oh, you
that'll
changed
go
the
off
unit.
by
You
itself.
changed the unit.
No, I have ounces, but how do I shut this off?
There
Here.
you go.
Okay. So let me tell you what I didn't buy this for the knives, and I didn't buy this for cooking ingredients, although I can use it. Again, I'm not a baker, but I'll be using this in the kitchen when I need to measure out some very accurate ingredients. I bought this because I am filling my own propane tanks now. Now we have the Weber barbecue, and what is it, a 20-gallon cylinder?
20 pound.
And 20 pound. And what is the cost to fill it today, Donna?
The 20 pound was like $25 or something.
25, and if you do some shopping, you'll get it cheaper, but maybe you'll get
It's
down to
usually around
$19,
that, yeah.
if you can get it, that would be great. But there's the two of us. There's the two of us, and I'm not going to use the Weber barbecue to
do 2 hot dogs.
do 2 hot dogs or 2 hamburgers. So what we do, we have a little grill, a portable grill that we take to the parks, or if we're fishing or whatever. It's a little grill. But when you put on the 1-pound containers, what do these cost today? They're $7, $8.
$5, $6 if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Well, these are New York prices.
And these are New York prices, and I'll buy them a 2-pack, I'll buy them a 4-pack, so maybe I'm getting away with $6 a piece. I can fill my 1-pound propane tanks for, I believe it was like $1.70 or something like that,
yeah.
in lieu of $5, $6, $7, $8, as much as $8. Ridiculous.
So that's a little tip for you guys.
That's a little tip. It has this scale is great for my knives. It's great for cooking. It's great for filling your propane tanks. I won't belabor, but filling the propane tanks, they make you scared. They make you worried about everything. Piece of cake. Google I Googled about 6 and decided, which one I'm going to, which
Who are you
fellow.
gonna believe?
Who are you going to believe? And anyways, I'm getting aside for this, but one thing does lead into another, and I think it's an important tip. And it kind of breaks this up a bit too. So,
We don't need the scale anymore, do we?
oh yeah, because I think I want to show them, what they're dealing with here in terms of,
Weights.
heaviness, weights on scale. So a couple of where we talked about the choil area, and again, the choil area is that notch between the cutting edge and the blade tang, T-A-N-G. What's a blade tang? The back portion of the blade where it extends into the handle allows for easy, accessible precision sharpening, as I pointed out with the VEF serrations. I talked about the ergonomic feel, referencing this blade even on what they call a reverse grip. This bad boy, well, none of these knives, because they're CRKT and they're designed by these couple of these fellas a few of these fellas that I mentioned, there is no blade play in this handle here, okay? There is no what they call lock rock, okay? This is solid. When this is locked up and then open, and you work with this knife, there's no lock rock, there's no blade play. As a matter of fact, if you get onto some of our videos, Donna's going to put that.
I'll put it in the description.
I'll put it in the description. This thing has been, we haven't done it, but this thing has been driven into a tree or locked in a vice-like position, and this is the magic in here. Maybe you'll have time to talk about this, but you can hang from this thing. Person, my height, my weight, you can actually hang off this. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the way this is put together. And again, it's this Ikuma guy. This is the Brazilian that I was talking about earlier, Flavio Ikuma, designer of this particular seismic knife. Okay, this can be taken apart. Also on my other, on our other shows, I've shown this tool, taking it apart from here, and you don't take these apart with a regular screwdriver, slotted or Phillips head. You need Torx, T-O-R-X. You need a certain tool to take these apart, and many of you who are into these knives, you know that. All you need are two sizes. You need an 8 Torx, T-O-R-X, or a 6, and you can take this knife apart. And after wear and tear and in your pocket, maybe picking up a lot of dust from your pocket or dirt or whatever, you have to, or really abusing the knife, if you will, take it apart, and then you oil your ball bearings. It's really pretty simple. This is virtually right out of the box. No need to do that, and we're not going to take this apart now because.
And you can get the tool from CRKT.
That's, well, you can see it right here. Donna showed them there, and you can see what I did. My one moan, groan, bitch, gripe, and complaint is that you really can't read that this is a T6 here and a T9 here, so you can see how I set this up. Donna printed these out with a little machine that we have, and I just simply put them on so I can keep track ready, rather than put in, the wrong size and maybe force something and screw something up. I have it set here. Okay, so, another cute little word here. this here part, notice how, well, let's notice how this knife doesn't go up like this one does. See how this raises here, this raised part? Okay, it's called a sedge, a raised sedge. And it's just kind of a neat looking, plays into that bad boy apocalyptic theme. Okay, that is the upper raised portion of the knife. Now, let's talk about money. Let's talk about cost. And let me be very, very candid with you here. MSRP for the Apoc, $89.99, $90 MSRP. My advice to you, as I've mentioned on the other shows, shop it. Shop it and you'll find it. If you hunt around, look for sale, look for a coupon, look for discount, you'll find it in the $50 range. Okay? quite a difference. And of the 4 knives here that I've talked about in the past today, including the Apoc here, these are fantastic knives for the money. They don't break the bank if you do your shopping.
And I believe the
thing.
warranty is lifetime, is it not?
I
I
believe
they
so.
do
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going to. I had it in my head at one time. Probably
I think
you
so.
probably
I
okay.
think it is.
So I say, you find it in that range, buy it. I've said, buy it! Exclamation point. Okay. And now, once you get this, you are ready for your post-apocalyptic world. You'll fit right in there. Okay. What we're going to do is to turn this on here for me, hon. Okay, that scale
The
again.
scale.
I just want to show them so they have a good idea whether they like a small knife, a bigger knife. And we'll go.
You mean a heavier knife?
We'll go.
You're weighing it, right?
Yeah. So we'll go
So
back to the ounces.
So you want to close them?
Yeah, I'll close them up. And you see how I had to close? Is this not cool? Look how easy, you know?
Okay, you have to do that again if you want the camera to catch it.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to close this knife. I'm going to push this button with my thumb, right, and just close it.
Okay.
My
flip
fingers
it,
are not
sort
in
of
the way
flip it-
like this.
flip it
My
closed.
fingers are in the way. I'm closing this. Okay, but...
Okay. Okay, scale on.
Okay. Is the scale... Put it on. You can put it on. Clear it.
You still want ounces? Okay.
Still 1 ounces.
Okay, so
Okay.
the APOC was 6.1.
Well, I'm going to go in size order here. I have a Eric Oakes Design Avant, and the specs say 5.3. So
Okay.
here's my Avant. Put this down here carefully. What do we got?
5.33.
5.3.
Good
Okay.
scale.
I'm
Okay.
telling you. So that is the lightest of the 4. Now, even this one may be considered, oh, here's a nice tab. See this tab? I can even open it like that, you know. But you know me. I like to show off. I like that action. I have
I know.
a friend who sits on a couch and he does this for half a day while he's watching television. Couch potato.
Couch
okay?
potato with a knife in his hand. Okay.
Okay. So I started to say I get sidetracked. There are some of you guys out there, you like the smaller, much lighter knife that you can carry in your pocket, your everyday carry. But well, I'm going to finish up with a funny maybe. So this is the lightest of the knives that I have. You can go, I missed a lighter one. The Hunter. The
Homefront.
Homefront
Homefront Hunter.
calls for 4.2. Oh, 4.1. Okay.
4.13. That's almost 4.2.
Almost 4.2.
That's even
Okay.
lighter.
That's lighter. Yeah, that's my lightest one.
That's your lightest one. But that's your hunting knife.
Okay, and then we'll save the real bed, the monster, for later. We'll go with the Apoc.
And we had said that was 6.1, right?
Yeah, and we'll just make sure that you got your
Okie dokie.
6.1. And then, how much more?
The Seismic.
It's negligible. I hold this in my hand, I hold this. It's a little bit heavier, but not much once. Instead of 6.1, what does the spec call for, Donna?
6.4. And you can actually feel it?
A little bit of difference.
6.42.
6.42.
Yep.
Okay, 6.4.
It's a little
So
bit
those are
heavier.
your weights that we covered there. It'll help you determine what you really like. Again, if you want something lighter, just look at those Eric Oak designs, Ken Onion, and
Flavio.
Flavio,
Icoma.
and okay.
Better yet, just go on CRKT's website,
And you're gonna put that on.
www.crkt.com. They have unbelievable variety of knives for all uses, and they're quality knives as well.
Okay, now Donna earlier mentioned again the theme is that apocalyptic theme with this Apoc, I should say, or apocalypse. That's the theme. Now Donna mentioned my latest novel. It's my 10th novel, and it's a very, very serious, not that my other novels aren't serious, but a lot of it was, some of my other novels based on total fiction, but on one novel I sat in a courtroom as a spectator, not in a jury, not on the jury, sat as a spectator for 15 months, and I wrote Trace Evidence, became an award winner, newbookreviews.com. The sequel to it, The Teacher, became an award winner. These are pretty serious books here. Going up the scale here, I had a pen pal, pun intended, woman set in prison for several years. She was going to sit in there for 50 years. That's what she was sentenced to, but that's a whole other story. Very serious book, more for the woman, shouldn't generalize like that, but it's about a woman who dealt with an abused husband, not only verbally, but seriously, physically. And she shot him, no question about it. She went to the police station, put the gun down there and said, I shot my husband.
Not only shot him, she killed him.
Well, shot him dead. Shot him dead. So my novels have to do with what I love. Guns, knives, bows, bow and arrows, crossbows, fishing. And so that's what not only but Donna and I are. Donna's not into the hunting end of it, but she's into the shooting end of it. She's into fishing. She's getting into these knives a little bit. My transition will be I'll have her cut up some of our chicken stuff with these knives instead of our kitchen utility.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. Now, I'll kind of finish up with this. The closest thing, see how readily, did you get that on camera again,
No,
Donna?
you have to warn me,
I gotta
honey.
warn you, okay. The closest that you can get to a switchblade, now some of you are saying, oh, God, yeah, switchblade, I wish I could have one, but in my state or area. Well, the next show that I'm going to do is going to blow some of your minds away, especially those of you who think, oh my God, switchblade. Well, just let me finish up with this. This is the closest you're going to get to a switchblade, one-hand operation. Easy, ridiculously easy deployment.
And they don't call them switchblades. They call them automatic.
Well, they call them automatic. It's a switchblade. Some of them have buttons. There's actually one out there that's a slide. You put slide, and it's on a spring, but it's a switchblade for all intents. But these automatic knives, whether I use the word switchblade or automatic, some of you are saying, "Oh, not in my state," you know. Blah, blah, blah. Well, we're going to be talking about states and locales and all that. Not in depth or anything, but I'm going to blow your minds away, especially some of you who are in New York say, "Oh, I can't have a switchblade knife." Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to get into that, and again, you're going to be very, very surprised. Now, what I want to point out here, let's talk about these liberal states here. Let's go out to California. I have a friend out in California. He can own a switchblade. He can own an automatic knife, but he cannot step out of his home. If he steps out of his home with that, it's a felony. And some of you are saying, "Oh, well, New York, you know, I can't have a..." We're going to get into a show that's going to blow the minds of some of you away. And I know what I'm talking about. It's all legal, and so you'll stay tuned for that. And, let's see. I missed this beat on a last show that I did, but people are going to want to see. This is virtually right out of the box. How sharp is it?
That's the Apoc.
Now, I haven't even done this yet, truthfully. Now, if I cut back here, it's going to grab, so I'm going to go... Okay?
They're sharp.
Right out of the box.
They're sharp.
Need I say more? I think that pretty much covers it,
Okay.
Donna.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. You've got CRKT, and let me just come over here. One of their boxes, CRKT, and all of the quality knives that CRKT offers for hunting, fishing, everyday carry, whatever it is that you need to do, folks.
Oh, 1 minute. Oh, Mr. Beat. Mr. Beat. I wrote to a certain party, and I said, you got to change the name of EDC. Stands for
Everyday carry.
Everyday carry. Most of us know that. I want to change it to EDOC. EDOC, Everyday Oaks Carry, because I'm very impressed with
Eric Oaks' designs.
Eric Oaks' designs.
Yeah, okay.
That's it.
All right. So, folks, if you enjoyed the video, and I know some of it can get heady, but you knife people like this kind of stuff, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification button for our next video, and we will see you soon on Special Interests with Bob and Donna. You have a great day and stay safe and healthy.